Good morning, afternoon, and evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Sandbox game. This is Saturday, June 5th, 2021. My name is Joseph the Vision X Matting, and alongside me, through the magic of the internet, is what's your name? Little Kamisaze. That's it. That's all I got. I got nothing special today, ladies and gentlemen. It's Alex Kamisaze Florez.
Some call me Alex.
Something. on the fly, you know what I mean?
On the fly, on the fly, right?
Doing it live,
right
Alex. Oh,
yes.
There's a fly there. There's a fly on the screen.
There's a fly.
So that'll
come into play later. We'll talk about that in a bit.
Funny. That's
all
so
right.
funny.
Do a virtual high five. You don't know how hard that is to do because we his hand is giant compared to mine.
Yes, giant.
It's very difficult because Joseph can't even see what he's doing live. So
yes, each and every Saturday right here on YouTube.com, Twitch.tv, Theta D Live, and Twitter.com/the Sandbox Game. We teach you all the skills you need to know inside the Sandbox Game Maker. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm getting pretty darn good at this after like 6 weeks. I'm finally learning this script without having to stare at the script that I wrote. If you're watching live with us today, you have a special job. Please ask us anything in the chat, whether it be about the Game Maker, about VoxEdit, about anything else inside the Metaverse. We are here to answer your questions live. So please drop those in the chat. And if you can't get your question answered live right here in the chat, you can always ask us later over on Twitter, over on Discord, over on Telegram, or each and every one of those other beautiful services linked under this video. Also, if you're watching later over on youtube.com, please keep in mind that you can watch each and every Saturday right here at 1800 UTC. So subscribe to the channel and come back with us each and every week. We've got streams on Mondays. We've got streams on Wednesdays at 2100 UTC. And then this one here on Saturday. For those watching live, you will have an opportunity to win a Wizzy the Blue NFT right here on this stream. I knocked everything over in my house doing that. It was wonderful. I'm having a lot of fun. I knocked over a coffee like minutes before this stream, folks. Like a huge coffee, not a little coffee, like half a liter of coffee onto my wife's desk. It went everywhere.
Oh man!
While we were doing setup, it was beautiful, but I got it all cleaned up.
All I could hear was screaming in the background while I was doing like audio levels and stuff. I had no idea what was going on. Just no.
I was like, oh man, it was a rough shot. It was a rough shot, but ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it. It's time to make some skills happen. It's a Saturday.
So quick announcement before we get started. We do have the VoxEdit contest going on, which was the fashion contest. I am pasting a link in the chat, which is the voting form for the contest. So go vote for, you can rank 1 to 5. I think it's 1 to 5, right? We can just pull it up.
Usually, yes.
You can rank 1 to 5 and keep hitting next and go through. I think there's like 40 or 50 of the entries. There's a whole bunch of them. All sorts of great costumes that people have made. The theme was fashion, so like high fashion kind of stuff. So go vote for your favorites, and vote for all of them. Don't just vote for your favorites. Vote for all of them, and rank them how you see fit. And then I don't remember when voting ends for that, but in a few days the voting will close, and all those will be scored accordingly. And I think we're picking 5 winners. That's the number that I heard. Don't quote me on that.
So I can clear that up really quick. There are 3 winners that win sand, and then there are 5 who will be able to. The top 5 get to publish their assets inside the marketplace. The last winners got their assets published as one of one super limited, I believe, legendary quality asset.
Probably.
So, given the low quantity.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in having that asset published, look out for the next contest. Maybe you can enter, and then otherwise go ahead and vote. And if your entry wins, you may have a chance to buy it right here inside the Metaverse.
So I did see a question here in the chat earlier. Can you adjust the movement speed of the flying animation? So that is probably... Oh, yeah, good. I still have my audio. I was making sure it stayed through the transition there. So that's probably referring to the fly here. We can't adjust the animation of this particular asset because this is actually animated in VoxEdit at this speed. You can make a fly or a fairy or a bee or whatever you want fly in an animation at whatever speed you want. And this is the speed set by the artist who made this, which is, I don't remember who made this one. This is by Perlin. So Perlin set up the speed for this particular asset. Now, if you have a bird behavior on something, we're just going to put a random item down and set it to a bird behavior. You can control the flying speed with this slider here. And the more speed gems that an asset has, the higher you'll be able to set that speed value. In fact, let's see. I don't think that asset has any speed gems, but we can sort by items that have speed, and we could set rarity to legendary. And we just look at the little buttons to see one that's all speed. So the the silly car hat that we made during the last game jam has all speed gems. And if we were to set that as a bird, we can see that that can go all the way up to 17, which to compare that to your character, the run speed of an avatar is 7.5. So, and sprinting is just under 10. So this is not quite double the sprinting speed for flying. So it's pretty quick. All right. So what we are looking at today, today I would like us to answer questions related to stuff that you may be wondering about for your Game Jam games. I mean, we can answer any questions, but in particular, if you are working on a game for the Game Jam and there's something that you don't understand, you would like to know how it works, we will try to figure out answers for you, because we might not know the answer right off the top of our head, but we will try to figure out for you what those answers might be. But in the meantime, I wanted to show a little, this was asked by Clankers actually, right before the start of the stream. Not right before, like an hour or two before the stream started. He wanted to know if we could make swords kind of like in the Lord of the Rings that like glow when an enemy is nearby, which we don't have a way to do that right now. When you can put behaviors on equipment, but as soon as you equip them, as soon as you pick them up and equip them, they don't have any of those behaviors while they're equipped. I think you can put them back down and they will continue to have those behaviors. So if I say, like, let's make this ladder collectible, and we'll say it's just a citizen, so it wanders around. So this ladder is gonna wander, in theory. Yeah, there it goes. So it starts walking. We collect it and then we put it back down. Oh, actually, I can't put it down because it's a quest item. So I would have to make it like a sword. So let me, or the sneakers, those work. So we've got the sneakers. We give them the collectible component and we set the behavior. We'll make it something more aggressive. A melee enemy. Actually, let's do predator. Here we go. All right, so they're going to try to attack us, but when they run up to us, we pick them up. So now if we put them back down, I think the bottom one should be the one that we just picked up. We press D to drop, and yep, you can see it just attacked us. So that will, you can make equipment. So you can make a sword that is a bird and it flies around in a circle. You could pick it up, you could put it down someplace else, and it will maintain that behavior. But if you were to equip it, it would not do anything, and that goes for components as well. So if we were to set, say, a rarity VFX component, so these shoes glow, and then we put them on, our feet do not start to glow. So any behaviors, any components right now, that might change in the future, but at this time, they don't do anything. So I wasn't able to help Clankers with a sword that would glow when an enemy's nearby, but I did have an idea, and Clankers kind of helped with this. He started saying some things, and I was like, oh, you know what? I think I can make it work this way. So what we've got here, we're not calling it a fly. We're calling it a black fairy. So we've changed the name up at the top here. What we've got here is a companion. So we can recruit it. It follows us around, kind of like Navi from The Legend of Zelda. So we've got this fairy on our shoulder here. And when an enemy's nearby, it warns us. It says there's danger, which could help. So one of the challenges of a game like, say, like Dark Souls, is that you get no warning when there's danger. So if you're going around a blind corner, or if you're not paying attention, those enemies just come out and wallop you, which some people like that challenge. Other people don't like that challenge. So so what you can do is you can have somebody around you. You'll see this in Skyrim. In Skyrim, your companion will go like, I don't like the look of this place, and say things like that. You could actually set up a variety of things for this to say by stacking more items on it with speaker components. So you could have a whole narrative element. The disadvantage to this is that what we are doing right now is we are carrying this fly because it is a pickable object. So that does limit what we can do. If we want to interact with something, we have to put down the fairy and leave it there. So that is a disadvantage to this method. There's no other way that I could figure out to get the fairy to follow us, because we could use different behaviors like farmer and enemies and predators, and even to some degree prey, will all have things that they're attracted to. Basically, their food sources. So predators will chase after prey. Prey will go after plants. Farmers will go after plants, or whatever you set as the thing for them to farm. So sometimes if we're designing models for like a mechanic or a scientist or an engineer, we'll set them to farmer with the idea that when you put them in your game, you can have them go pick up test tubes or gears, or things that they're farming. Not really plant farmers, but they're farming whatever sort of item you have for them in the game. And warriors will chase after enemies, whether that's the avatar or other types of enemies. And healers will chase after the player, but only if the player is hurt. So you can see that if I set this fly as a healer, and it just stays there until we actually get hurt, and then it starts chasing us going, hey, I want to heal you. So it doesn't really work any other way to have it constantly chasing us, because farmers don't respond quickly enough to chase us. They lag behind, and then we get out of their range where they can chase us. Enemies will actively have that little I want to attack you icon above their heads, which you can see when these guys chase after us. So you don't really want your companion chasing after you like that. Even if you set the damage to 0, it would look kind of silly. And it is possible to run out of their range. So basically there's no behavior that gets a big enough chase distance to work. So we do have to have it with this pickup style. But I think it works pretty well, and I'll show you how to set this up. So we've got this fly here, which I grabbed off the marketplace. I think if you just search for fly on the marketplace, it'll show up. I have... There we go. Get rid of the rarity and the gems there. So it's... I actually found this in my inventory because I was looking for something that had an epic power, because I wanted it to have extra luck, so that way it has a bigger sense radius for warning of danger, because the danger warning doesn't really help that much if you're right next to the enemy when they say it. So having a luck gem in there will let us increase the radius that it senses things. So what we've got going on here is we've set the name to Black Fairy, which is so that way you don't have a fly chasing you. I mean, you could, this could be like the Binding of Isaac or something, but I set it to Black Fairy because I thought that was a little cooler sounding. Then we've got behavior of healer. I set the walking zone to 0 and walk speed to 0. And actually, we're going to hit edit logic so we see all the options. Left the heal value and healing range up, so that way it will kind of chase after the player to heal them. and it's going to heal any friendly or avatar, but it only works when you put them down on the ground. So you can be carrying this fly everywhere and you can have 1 health left and it won't heal you until you drop it. That's just the way these behaviors work. We turned off the flee option, so it doesn't run away when there's an enemy. And we set the pickable component, the indicator component, and the speaker component. So the pickable component has a grab offset of -1x, which puts it to the left of the player, so it's over the left shoulder. We could put it over the right shoulder by doing +1, and -2 on the Z, which means it's behind the player. And I felt like this is just a good placement for the fly/fairy. Oh, we've got
I'm trying to keep up. We have a series of Facebook-based scammers. So if you happen to be watching over on Facebook Live,
yeah.
Just keep in mind that obviously, and I hope that it's obvious, and I apologize if it's not, but it should be obvious that you can't generate ETH out of nowhere. Nobody's going to give you 21 ETH when you give them 7. It's just never going to happen.
Yeah. There's a bunch of them.
I do want to answer a couple of questions that have come through
Sure,
in chat.
absolutely. Yeah, go ahead. I'll
First
clear
of
up these
all,
messages.
Logan Anderson says, are types of game modes being added like PvP or Battle Royale, things like that? We do intend to add PvP. In previous streams, I've mentioned that we have a team dedicated to reworking the physics engine right now. If you're playing with some of those blocks and you place them down right now, you know they can essentially be pushed and they kind of just float on. So in order for PvP to be possible, at least one of the components of PvP is going to require a rework of our physics engine so that an individual can push an object and another individual can also interact with that object. Currently, that's not possible. So that's in the works. The timeline for that, because we are in this alpha stage, last I asked, which was about a month ago, they said 6 months, possibly. Maybe less, but we'll see how it goes. Bored Ape Yacht Club in the chat, I see you. Welcome to the community. I know that a lot of folks from the Bored Ape Yacht Club picked up some lands in the last sale. I've seen a nice map from Josh Ong more recently that showcase all of y'all locations, and I think we mentioned that on the news this last Thursday as well. John Frascos over on YouTube asks, any chance that we could have opacity in the same way that we have emissive voxels? There's a chance, but let's talk about the technical things really quick. If you have opacity, it will add a lot of lag or a new lag into the game. Currently, opacity doesn't exist because when you draw a voxel and it's a flat plane, let's say you make a flat cube, the system is made to optimize that out so that the rendering engine isn't rendering as many triangles for your polygons. So despite the fact that it's a square, when a rendering engine renders that, it actually renders it as 2 triangles, right? Like you have the square and then it gets cut like this, and you've got this triangle and this triangle as polys in the game. So, excuse me, the adding of opacity would mean that, let's say that you made transparency in a block. You'd have your block, and if this section is transparent, instead of having this face, this one, and that one, now you've got all of those faces plus the new cut in here, cut in here, cut in here, and you've doubled the number of faces that your GPU would have to render. So why is that a problem? If you do that, then you can make it so that a user, whether they're on desktop or they're on mobile, has to do twice the work. Maybe if you're not aware, currently we do have it on the roadmap to launch this into mobile play. So everything that you're seeing here should be compatible with, let's say, the newest iPhone or a new Samsung device today when it launches, a year or so from now. So the mobile app ideally will be optimized for first, and then maybe opacity added. But it may be before then. We'll see how it goes. If we're feeling really comfortable with the whole system, then it may be before then.
Yeah, there's other technical issues. Adding transparency to the voxels adds a wide variety of technical issues. Besides what Joseph was talking about, we get issues with Z fighting. You've got some of you might remember this. It depends on how long you've been here. We do have transparency in the engine in water. So any blocks that you upload can be made transparent. Transparency on the water blocks used to look horrible. So it's not as simple as just saying make this transparent. You can see it here faintly, and this doesn't look so bad. You can see there's a little rectangle where this is kind of probably due to chunking, the way these blocks interact. And this used to look like nasty Z fighting, flickering all over the place. And it used to be a major issue, especially when you had gaps of air between transparent things. So it actually looks pretty good now. But that same kind of issue is going to end up happening with any voxel artwork. Whenever you do transparent voxels, you have to remember that we mesh these voxel objects for the game engine. So what you're seeing in the game is actually a mesh of everything. We've got more scams in here.
Are they?
I don't know. Somebody said scam. I thought I got rid of all of them.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks. I don't know if we were able to delete them all, but
I think I got all of them.
It looks like it.
Yeah. If anybody's talking about ETH, or at least they're saying ETH now. They've learned. That's because true. They used to always say yeah. They always used to say BTC.
Based on Bitcoin technology,
At least the scammers were listening when I told them that we don't do any BTC stuff here.
I can't believe you gave him that idea. No, I'm kidding.
It's all my fault.
So we have another question.
Sure.
This one actually coming through Facebook. It says, how does this program compare to Unity?
It is
Unity. And it is built on Unity using C#. Now, what I would say is that compared to Unity, this is not really the same. There is no code currently, and that's the point. That we have something that eventually it will get much more complex, but at this time we are building a system to keep it easy for anyone to be able to go from game player to game creator, and then from game creator to visual scripting coder, and from there to full coding. That's the long-term goal of the project. So this game maker as it is now, and excuse my voice, and it's crazy today. I don't know what's going on. The game maker will be made to transition you, whether you're 5 or 55, you should be able to make a game even if you've never made a game before. So hopefully we'll see some of that soon.
So the issue we see with transparency and voxels is when you mesh an object, it's like a shell. There's no voxels on the inside of an object. So when you've got that shell and you make part of the outside of the shell transparent, you can see the whole inside of the shell, and that looks weird. So when you do transparent voxels, now you need to split the voxels into separate objects. So you end up doubling your voxel objects to have transparent ones and opaque ones, and there's just a whole bunch of parts involved in all of this and a lot of ways that it can go wrong. And so far, as far as our art direction goes, we haven't really needed transparency, but it is something our artists would like to do. So the developer for VoxEdit is aware of this. and it's not the top priority right now, but it's something that we could look at in the future, and it is a possibility. There is just a lot of technical aspects that would affect this, and more than just what's capable in VoxEdit, because we do have our developer who works on the lighting engine, the whole rendering pipeline in the game maker. So there's a lot of aspects to it. It's not as simple as it might sound, especially because of the kind of artwork that we're using and the whole UGC. You want this to work when people do it. Like you don't want to have people on the user side troubleshooting why their transparency doesn't work. You want it to just work, and getting it to that level is a big task, and is not the top priority at this point. I think all those angry faces.
No, I figured out what it was. There's over on, not inside the Restream chat, there were some comments that were posted by a page that was pretending to be us. We have an official check over on facebook.com. So again, if you're watching, and to be completely honest, Alex, I'm not totally sure that the people who are commenting scam are even humans. You know what I mean?
That's
weird, but
it seemed like multiple people have been saying the same scam. Like Johnny Depp says the Sandbox, angry faces. I'm like, that's exactly the same as what Mr. Larry Jeff said, which also doesn't sound like a real person. So
there's only 2 people watching, and I'm one of them over on Facebook. I'm just seeing this now. So it looks like those are nonsense. And I apologize, chat, for that. And the fact that I'm, even having to pause for it is
right.
Well. But I'm going to clear it up.
So
it's all good.
Let's go back to our fly here and finish what our setup is here, or our fairy, I should say. So we've got our healer behavior. So when we put it down, it'll heal us. And we could make this any behavior. We can make this a spawner, so it could be something that we take to another place, and when we put it down there, it spawns. That could be cool for tower defense. It could be a friendly warrior. I think that's called soldier now. Yeah, soldier. So we could make that a soldier that we pick up and put in a place, and that also would have kind of a tower defense aspect to it. Right now we have it as healer. It could be a message broadcaster for victory. This could be your quest item. Could be what's the word for it? It's not MacGuffin, is it? It's the object that you take from one place to another that doesn't really have any meaning, but is like the purpose of your quest. It's a literary term. I don't remember what it is. And I'm showing how nerdy I am and how little I know at the same time. And somebody in the chat, help me out there. Tell me what that thing is called. So we've got the pickable, which offsets it to behind and over our shoulder. Then we've got speaker, which it is a MacGuffin. Okay, so I got the name right. Cool. All right, so I did know something. I am as nerdy as I think I am.
Hey.
So we've got the speaker component here, which just says danger. Now like I said earlier, you can make it say different things by stacking up multiple objects and having them be children of this. So you could have a companion that says, so like Navi in Link to the Past goes, hey, listen, not A Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time, good grief, says, hey, listen, when there's like a quest item or something important nearby. And you could do that by having say like a numpad. You would make it with no collision, you would make it be invisible, and you would line it up with your original item and use your hierarchy panel to attach it to the fairy. And now wherever the fairy goes, the other item goes with it, and it would say whatever message you wanted to say. Like the one that always makes me crack up is when Lydia in Skyrim is following me around, and I pass by a cave, and Lydia goes, "Oh, there's a cave there. I wonder what's inside." I'm like, "Come on, you know, there's like skeletons and treasure inside. That's what's in all the caves in Skyrim." Maybe some bandits. You know, that's just to be expected. Lydia, come on, we've done this 100 times. So you could have a different tag. So in this case, we have the tag is set for hostile. So anytime there's a hostile NPC that's going to attack the player, and we have that detection range as wide as it can go. So you get early warning. That's pretty wide. That may be too wide, but if you're running really fast, you'll cover this distance pretty quickly. You'll notice that when we round the corner here, it says it all the way back here. So you can make it a little bit shorter. It depends on how much advanced warning you want to give the player. I think that's set to 18. Yeah, 18 is the max. So you could set to like 15 or 13, not quite so far around the corner. But having the warning when you're here before the corner lets the player kind of prepare for that. And then you can set up other tags for different things. So a cave entrance, you could have a cave tag where the fairy will go, hey, look, what's over there? Or treasure, or other friendly NPCs, things like that. All sorts of different stuff. Then we've got the indicator, which just helps you kind of find your fairy. So you don't have to have that in there, but that is what tells you that you can interact. So we say to recruit, you could use whatever description you want. So, oops, I selected both. There we go. So we go back to our indicator component. We left off the display name because otherwise it's going to say their name over them the entire time they're there, which could be really annoying and distracting. So we just have the display interaction, which is that white circle you see that says, hey, you can interact with this. To recruit, we don't want any quest cursors. We don't want it to display over other objects because this is kind of like, if this is something you're going to carry around with you for most of the game, it's not something you want to constantly be seeing. Visibility, distance, vertical offset, you can kind of leave those at default. Turn off the display arrow, but then we want the interact VFX so you can tell when you pick it up and put it down. That just gives you that little shine there, a little bit of fairy dust. I guess you don't see it when you put it down, but you see it when you pick it up, and that helps the player know that they've actually interacted. We get our warning, and then we fight. And if we take some damage, now we can put it down, and it'll come heal us. We pick it back up. Oop, pick it back up. There we go. You got to wait till it shows the to recruit, and then carry on your way. So I think it's a pretty cool use case. The main drawback is that you can't interact with buttons or other things while you're carrying your fairy. So that is something you would have to plan for in your level design, where you don't have the player carrying something else. Or you could want that. You could want a section where you have to put down your fairy and carry another thing to some other place, and that would create another level of challenge for you.
Well, something that I'm thinking is if you wanted to build this into a game with a narrative, the first time that you find this fairy in the world, you can obviously kind of have an interaction, and you chat with it, and it talks about what it can do, how to use it, right? And it says, if you'd like a quick heal, put me on the ground and I can heal you up, right? Or something much better flavor text, of course.
Yeah.
But essentially, it gives you that, like, I'll follow you, I'll warn you of danger. If you get hurt, just place me anywhere and I can heal you, or something like that. And then you can use it in another way where you do run into a room where you need to interact with things. Maybe you can have one of those calculators attached to it that has a trigger of a call, and the call is in that room. So then the fairy says, hey, put me down here and I'll meet you at the other end. Something simple like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you put it down and you go do that room, and the room is a puzzle instead of a combat. And then on the other side, you have another trigger that respawns that asset over there again as you created it before. So it would require, obviously, making that fairy again on the other side with the add-ons that you made to it, but nonetheless can be a very cool world. I really like this idea, Alex, and I don't know what inspired you to come up with this, but this is great.
All thanks to Clankersh. I mean, I had thought of similar things before, but never really had the drive to realize it. And then Clankersh asking about doing glowing swords. It is all thanks to the glowing swords. So we can't do enemy detection glowing swords yet. That's the sad part of this whole story, is that we weren't able to do what we set out to accomplish, but we found something else cool that we can do. And that was in the form of having companions. And I had wanted to set up companions before, and I did try. Somebody asked if you could use the healer tag to follow. Basically, every other way that I tried did not work well enough, because all of the behaviors like predator, prey, farmer, healer, soldier, all of those, the things that make them chase after other things are too temporary, I guess. The range on them is not sufficient. The range and the frequency of them is not sufficient for a player. The player will outpace them too quickly and they'll get left behind. And that's just the way it is for now. I mean, we as the game develops, there will be more options for these behaviors and more kinds of behaviors, and then eventually, way down the roadmap, we'll have the visual scripting and we'll be able to make custom behaviors, and we'll see new things with that. So somebody asked a while ago about the mini map. And so yes, there is a mini map now. What you see on the mini map is not real. Like it's not reflective of an actual terrain on the map. There's the exit. What you are seeing is where the edge of the land is. So you see how it says travel, and you need to publish your experience on a land to connect it to the metaverse. So what you're seeing is the border. And so you can travel northwest, east, and south out of your lands when these are on the map. So that gives you an idea of when you're close to the edge of the map and kind of helps you get your bearings. It's got a north indicator, which you can't see because of the logo on the video. There it goes. Now you can see it.
You kind of can, yeah.
It came back.
You can see when you're going the wrong way.
Right, yeah. Well, south, it's not the wrong way.
Yeah. It's not north, Alex.
Right.
That's wrong. No, I'm kidding.
At some point, we may see something more like a screenshot from above. I'm not sure where in the roadmap that is and how soon we'll see that, but it may be that when you save your game, it'll take a screenshot over the top and use that as the mini map. And you may even be able. I did see some a preview of showing the mini map on your screen. So you could like maybe hit M and it'll show it large, so you can get an idea of your whole area. I don't have any ETA on those, so don't hold your breath. But I feel like the mini map is going to have more features at some point. Another question was, can we set a enemy to be invincible except for when there's a specific message? And I believe so. I've done it before. It's been a while, so things may have changed. So I'm trying to set it up now. Maybe while I'm setting that up, if there's any other questions, Joseph can find.
There is a question right here that says, in the future, will you be able to see the land that is next door to your land, right? So when Alex was talking about the mini map, you could see the borders, but clearly this one by one land that is being designed appears to be floating kind of in space. So right now, if that was in the metaverse, when you walk to the wall or the end of the land, right, you would get a pop-up, and that pop-up would say you are about to, if you pushed E to leave or go to the next land, then it would say you're about to go to this land right here. And it gives you a preview picture of what it is. That preview picture is decided by the developer of that space. So for now, that's the way that is. I think that's going to be the way that it remains, but we'll see what happens. Anything can change basically at any time, as we are again in early alpha. But what you're seeing is that's designed because we don't want you to lag. Again, it's about optimization, not just for you as an individual, but for your mobile users in the future as well. So again, we want to make sure that this can be played by as many people as possible while also played currently, clearly. So if we had, let's say, a floating island that was out there that showcased your game, you also run into this other problem, and that is the game that Alex has on your screen right now has stone walls and yetis and soldiers in armor. So if you had been playing this game and then off in the distance to the north there was a cyberpunk skyscraper, that would probably take you out mentally of like the experience, right? You don't want to be playing a Skyrim like game and then look off in the distance and see a giant wall that looks like the old Donkey Kong game, because it takes you out of the aesthetic of the moment. As a designer, you now have something taken away from you. And I saw this issue in just this week on Twitter. Somebody was upset because another person made a giant wall that basically said like "I hate you" or something like that, right
Yeah,
next to
Mary.
in,
I saw that.
yeah. And it was like, we don't want to have that happen to you as a developer or to the people playing your game. They shouldn't have to see that kind of experience from somebody who's griefing you or abusing you in some other way. And so this way, the games are instance. That means that you're not getting additional lag. It's only loading your game, your code, your assets that you put into the experience, so your users get the best possible experience. And then again, them being instance, you just avoid nonsense. Maybe somebody wanted to just advertise their game and it's this giant sign that says like "Joe's Great Game, come here." Like, you shouldn't have to deal with me promoting my game on your space.
Right.
That said, maybe the mini map does. I know that in the client right now, if you're on the map, you can zoom in and there's a picture for each experience, and it can say there "Joe's Great Game, come play here." But that's because the user is on the mini map or on the metaverse map, and they're saying, "I do want to explore things." Maybe you want to warp halfway across the world because you see a cool one that has like a lollipop and you were into that kind of aesthetic and you want to go there, so you click it because you're intrigued because they promoted it there. So that's what that's for. So we'll see where it goes in the future.
Yeah, I think the solution that some people are interested in is having if you have a oh good grief, I can't remember what they're called. It's been like a year since I've talked about this. You can collaborate with people to create I don't think they're estates, are they? They might be estates. It's not the regions, districts. Thank you. So there's the potential that you could create a district is where you join multiple lands from multiple owners together. That is a theoretical possibility. I'm not sure how exactly that would be implemented, but there's a lot of stuff to consider. Plus, so the idea with Decentraland is pretty cool, where you've got this open world that you can travel all over the place with, but we are trying to make it so that way land developers are able to create their own game mechanics and make any kind of game that they want. And when you go from your space game flying around in spaceships to a race car game next door to a fantasy RPG around the corner, like Joseph said, aesthetically these don't really mesh, and mechanically they don't really mesh. So having that visibility from one place to another is not always going to work when the game is much more of a game. Like Decentraland's much more of an exploring and looking at art kind of experience, and what we're making here is a lot more game mechanic based. And yes, we can do the art galleries and stuff, and they look really cool. But I haven't seen any boss fights in Decentraland or crypto voxels. So
right,
it's a different kind of game. So while it would be cool to have those connections, what we're making is intrinsically different.
Right. Right. And that's the important thing to understand is that when it comes to those that are essentially showcases for your NFTs, things like that. Those have their place, of course, and they're great. We love working with them and do often work with them. In fact, I believe Animoca Brands, our parent company, has been a direct investor in both Decentralands and, of course, in this company, uh, which they are the parent company of. So we do want interoperability. We talk about that with the Board Ape Yacht Club. With voxel-based, we have interoperability plans so that if you're owning assets in theirs, you're owning assets in ours, right? So that that we want to be able to work with people. This isn't necessarily a competition. We're a totally different product, as Alex mentioned. This is designed with games in mind, not designed necessarily as a showcase. You can walk from place to place, but in order for the game design to work best, we don't want to limit your creativity as a game designer by having someone else's game loaded off screen that your user would never care about necessarily. You want to have a complete experience when you play your game. So we're optimizing as such. And then, of course, if it's easy down the road to say none of that loads, but it can sit out there in space, and we've made it fuzzy so that we're or more optimized mesh, optimized like essentially it looks bad in the distance graphically, like it's Madden 98 on PS1 or something. Then we can do that. But for now, it's optimized in such a way where it works best with just the one instance. Your game is your game, and then when you move on, you can play the next game. So anyway, and that's important too. Klein Kirsch mentions that in terms of physical real estate, like when you talk about how big the scale is, the size is, and scale renders in Unity the same regardless. The 36 plots of land in Decentraland is the same size as just a one by one land in the sandbox. So optimization wise, there's that to consider as well. So it's been a while since I've run around in Decentraland, but I believe there's like that fog of distance is a pretty short fog compared to ours, which is like you can just basically see from one end of the land to the other if you've got less than a 4x4.
Yeah, with a 1x1, it starts getting pretty foggy about halfway through. So basically, sure, you can see one land out in front of you. There's some good questions in here. I'm gonna try to cram through these pretty quickly here because there's a bunch of them. Good question day.
Really quickly,
yeah.
There's a form for the Wizzy the Blue. If you've never been here before, fill it out. You can only ever win one. I'm doing that fast because we do have a bunch of good questions. So go ahead, Alex. Thank you.
And only 10 minutes left. Ooh. So Small Blue Studios has been asking about doing a bird. I did try a bird, and what happens when you move a bird where you've picked up either the bird or if the bird is attached to a pickable object, it resets the spinning cycle. So as soon as you pick up the object and you turn or move with it, the bird keeps on resetting back, and it looks kind of weird. So yeah, that is something that I'm aware of. I'm not sure what the plan is for the birds. I think it would be great if we could have the bird as a follower, like attach it to the player and just have a bird circling around you, which is kind of why I used the fly, because it kind of has that same effect. But yeah, that is not the ideal way for the bird to behave, but it is normal at this point. It's I wouldn't necessarily call it a bug. It's more like we're using the bird as it's not intended to be used, so it's not behaving the way that we want it to. So I think we could make improvements on that, but it's not that you're doing something wrong. That's just the way it is right now. As far as what I was doing on screen with this Yeti here, or Arctic Ape, so yeah, if you have Invincible set on the health, it is really truly invincible. There's no way that I can find to actually get rid of it. So having a kill button for like an invincible boss where you can't attack them, I don't think that's possible right now. what could be possible, that actually just gave me another idea, which we'll try in a little bit. Maybe if you have, it might actually cause the game to crash. I don't know. Maybe if you have what it's killing is actually something that the boss is attached to, might get rid of both at the same time. So if I say have this item here, and I say it's got health. I know I said I was getting to these questions, but I just had a moment of maybe this will work. So we have health on this, and we're going to attach the Arctic Ape to the numpad switch, and the numpad switch has I think it was berry. I just picked a random message. So the kill message is going to be berry here, and if we run over to it, I'm halfway expecting this to crash the game. Oh, I need to actually set that to a message broadcaster again. Oh, it is on the message broadcaster. Okay. So let's see what happens. Hey, there we go. Okay, so that works. Beautiful. Oh. All right. So we figured it out. So if you have a boss that you want to have be invincible, where you can attack it as much as you want and nothing kills it, you can set it to be invincible, and you can't directly kill this asset, but you can attach it to another asset. So if this stays in the same place, this is just like an anchor. It's kind of like where you initially put it. So you can set this to be an enemy, and it'll run around all over the place in whatever range you set for it. And it will still, you can make this message broadcaster invisible. So it's trying to attack me. I'm attacking it. Nothing's happening. And then say you push, a rock, and a rock slide comes and collapses on top of it. And then boom, it dies. Oh, that was kind of cool. So it may have some silly glitches there too, because it was in the middle of trying to attack, I think, when it died. So it kind of left its effect behind. So that's kind of cool. And it's still there when we go back to the editor. So
the one ring to rule them all. Yeah, that's a nice little bug splat. We're gonna have to put it into that form.
All right. But at least we figured out how to get rid of invincible bosses. So there you go. That's the solution. Let's see. Back to the questions. I hope we'll be able to trade NFTs and social hubs eventually. I hope so too. That is something that we definitely want to have happen. I don't have an ETA on that on the roadmap. But that is something that we are interested in, having people interact with the NFT market right in the game client.
Yeah, and if I could be so bold, I think that's on our higher priority list, because Binance.com, as you see on the map, they have some spaces. And my understanding is that they wanted to be able to have people trade sand directly inside the metaverse in those locations. Could be wrong about that, but that was my early understanding of that pitch with them. So, hopefully.
Purple Linus asked what the form in the chat is for. That is for the Wizzy the Blue NFT. I'm not sure how soon Joseph is going to close up that form, but you better jump into that link before it's too late. Let's see. We answered the bird question. We need some governance tokens. So we haven't really started the decentralized governance of the sandbox yet. There's still a lot of foundational things that are happening. You can do liquidity pool staking, and we do plan at some point to have like landholders be more involved in things. So we've still got a roadmap going on years in the future from now. So there's lots to happen.
And we do, just to clear that as well. So far, governance is essentially direct, right? We're listening to the people as they give us feedback. More recently, we expanded the team that's dedicated to Discord, as there are a considerable amount more people chatting in there versus the Telegram chats and other forms. We've added people directly, including Andy Ritchie, who is streaming pretty much all week long over on their streams. We're still keeping it community, but also we are listening to community directly. So we've made some changes. Back in version 0.60, we had that update, and it changed some preset things, which we directly listened to and pushed up the priority for bringing back presets. And I think that's still projected for 0.70 right now. Things like that. So we are listening directly without necessarily having a poll that says, hey, here's how many sand tokens we have, and that gives you a certain amount of weight or something toward the DAO. But we do intend to have that as we get in there. And I think that will come in about the same time as land staking your sand directly into your land comes into practice.
Padraig McGross. I'm sorry, I haven't. There's too many consonants in there for me. From Twitch asked if it's possible that a decentralized game in the browser could run into resource bottlenecks, and that therefore decentralized games could also be available as downloadable apps. So the Sandbox is not planned to be a browser game. We have always planned for it to be an app or a program that you download. So right now it's a game maker. Eventually we very soon are going to be releasing the game client, which is just the player aspect for playing the games on the metaverse. And those are both going to be downloads for PC and eventually for Mac. That's the next question. Will Mac get the game maker this summer? Unfortunately, I do not have an ETA on that. I do not know when that is coming back. I know that we definitely want it back. Both people in our development team want it because they are primarily Mac. Some of them are primarily Mac users, but I have not gotten official word on when that's coming back or what exactly we're waiting for. I don't have any more information on that. But we do also plan on releasing... I don't know what just happened.
I'm so hype right now, Alex.
Did you just pick a winner?
I don't usually do this, folks. Yeah, I did. And just for fun, because I like being silly, okay. I'm going to announce this one.
With a beat.
Over on youtube.com. Purple Lioness 83. You're our winner today.
Oh my gosh. Congrats.
Yes, that's right. Congratulations, Purple Lioness. Congratulations.
Purple Lioness has been hyping us on Twitter. Possibly, I only see it on Twitter, possibly other places, for months now. Purple Lioness has been very helpful in being part of our, some people might call it a hype squad.
Hype squad?
announcing us whenever we go live, interacting in the chat, reminding everybody to like and subscribe when the stream is close to ending. So we're very grateful to have you around, Purple Lioness, and congrats. I will be sending that out to you right after the stream is over.
That breaks a what is
weeks
that? Weeks, probably like 3 weeks straight of Twitch victories. Now this is a YouTube win for the YouTubers out there. Congratulations to all the YouTubers for making it back on the board today. This is great. I'm super happy. I love seeing names that you see each and every week come up. You know, most of the time, you know, they're kind of coming through, and it's like, oh well, maybe I recognize that one a little.
Purple Lioness's chat is lagging. She doesn't know what.
Oh no!
She doesn't know what's going on yet.
Doesn't know what? Wait, what? Where? My chat is lagging. Why am I being congratulated? Oh no, Purple Lioness, no, everyone's giving it away. Oh.
All right. So
that's great.
Rapid fire. Back to the questions. Let's try to clear these out because I actually have to go swimming in a little bit.
Nice.
My family's waiting for me at a community pool that nobody's at right now, so we don't have to worry about people being sick or anything.
Wow.
My mother-in-law's husband, not my father-in-law, but my mother-in-law's husband's sister's family lives in this neighborhood where they just have like a little community pool, like one of those little, like, you know, places with a place to have like a picnic and a grill and stuff. Anyway, so back to the question about apps and decentralized. So yeah, no browser stuff. Right now, the way you can jump into games in the game client, which is not released yet, but the way we do it internally is we do it from the map, which is like the map that you see for the land sales on the site right now. But this one will actually launch the game client and take you right to that land. Eventually, we plan on having that integrated into the game client itself, so you just launch the game client and then you can look at the map and choose where you want to go. So that's further off down the road. Let's see, scrolling through. Next land presale when? I can't give away any specific dates, but this summer. I can say that much.
We'll be doing land sales consistently until 2023.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So stick around.
Yes.
Let's see. The Sandbox Game Maker 0.6.5454. I don't know what the 454 is. That's different from what I have on my screen. You can't really see it because of the scroll bar here, but I can get rid of that for now. So I've got 7075561 is the last digit, which is kind of like the internal version number. So make sure you update to the latest version. Have any bug I cannot use it, please fix. So I mean, we need to have more specifics as to what bugs are occurring to fix it. It may just be that you're not on the latest version, so make sure you are on the latest version. And if that doesn't fix the issues, go to our Discord and go to the support chat and see if anybody can help you out there. There are bugs. We're still in an alpha. So, we want to squash them. Can we gamble? So this is something we've talked about before. Yes, maybe not. We've always planned, even from before I joined as an artist 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago now, that things like battle royales and casinos and all these other different game types would be part of the sandbox. And that's still part of the plan. We have to be careful with stuff with like gambling because in the United States, it's illegal to let anybody under 18 gamble. So like real gambling, and you can get in a big legal battles, even like Chuck E. Cheese, which is, if you're not familiar with it, is kind of like a indoor playground arcade, got in trouble with people saying it was gambling. They made the argument that it was games of skill, so it was okay that people were paying tokens to do this game and then win tickets to get prizes. So there's various challenges there, and we are considering ways to set up sort of like age gates where different kinds of content, we've got Smurfs and Care Bears on one side of the spectrum, and then we've got like Hack the Tau and people who want to do zombie shooters and voxel blood and stuff like that. So we've got a spectrum of things that people want to do, and we need to make sure that they can coexist peacefully and keep things safe for the kiddos. And I think right now we've kind of got a Peggy 13 sort of rating, and we're trying to see how we can kind of like isolate those into pockets where we can have like the kids table and the grown-ups table. So make a happy Thanksgiving dinner there. I want to sell designs for 1 sand. Use that sand to enter a contest of winner takes all. So when you make an item and you mint it and you put it on the marketplace, you can set whatever price you want. So you can set a price of 1 sand if you want. When we move to a layer 2, that will be more feasible, because right now you would have somebody paying 1 sand, and like gas is super low right now. I don't actually know what it would be to buy something on the marketplace, but probably like a $5 gas fee on top of the 1 sand, which doesn't make a lot of sense with the value of sand right now. You're paying like 40 cents for an item and then a $10 tax on it. Yeah. It's kind of
currently it'd be $6.32 in order to process that transaction, given the kind of smart contract that it is.
So when we move to layer 2, a price of 1 sand is going to be a lot more reasonable with any fees that might be put on top of that. And as the value of sand increases, that would be more profitable for you also. So, but that is something that you can do. You can choose to do with the sand. When you sell something, the sand goes directly to your wallet, and you can choose to do whatever you want with that wallet and with that sand in it. So if you want to put that into a pool for a contest and use the ownership of those items as tickets, use them as like a raffle, you could totally do that. I don't think that even counts as gambling. I guess, well, it depends. In the US, you do need a license to do raffles. So I think it would depend on what your local laws are. And I am not a lawyer, and I do not know where you're from or what the laws are there. So I cannot really speak to that any more than that, except do your research and be careful about it. Let's see. Pot Plucker says, I think the Sandbox seems to have the best virtual world making team. Thank you. If you could only see what I see the level designers doing, I mean, you might like the look of what you see us doing on stream, but holy moly, the stuff that our level designers are doing is so cool. I know Joseph has seen some of it, and I see reports on it weekly, and they are amazing. The what they are doing with the Game Maker is beautiful. Speaking of boss fights, will it be possible to have multiple attack types dependent on an enemy's health in the future? Yeah, that should be possible. So I don't know if it's going to be a built-in thing. I know we want to do bigger boss fight type things. That is not going to happen before the launch of the game with the game client. I can say that confidently because I know we're locked in with the features that we have for the launch. And we are mostly doing bug squashing and making sure everything works smoothly at this point. So that's why when people ask me when is the game coming out, I'm like, it's imminent. Like we are in the cleanup and beautification phase of everything. Our features are in there with what we want. But there are going to be more features in the future, and things like visual scripting will let you do basically whatever you want.
Yeah.
Let's see. Roblox Sdk still in the works. I did not know there was a Roblox SDK in the works for us. I have no idea what you're talking about.
There is. Yep. I want to answer this question that's buried in the middle of a bunch of YouTube comments really quickly.
Sure.
Chiawat asks, can I do random number for logic setting? And yes, you can do random number. Absolutely. There's a tutorial that we did, real brief one. You can watch it on one of these Saturday streams over on youtube.com. Check that out. And I think that's like 6 weeks ago now, maybe somewhere around there. But look it up there. You will see that in Alex's tutorial, it showcases kind of like a calculators that are using the fly animation to go over another one. And then when one is over top of it, that's your random spawn over here. And then another one goes over top of it, and that's your random spawn over here. And because they're offset, it does that. And then in a more advanced way, you can watch Cyber Dragon there is a Twitch that says Game Maker Academy. Look up Game Maker Academy on Twitch. They may have a YouTube video that they published of it later, but it was a long form tutorial for who wants to be a millionaire. And in order to get the questions, they have a 150 piece random number generator underground that they built there. So look that up if you want a longer form tutorial on that.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the link. I would say just go to the Game Maker Academy Twitch and look back through the video on demand for that.
And then one more, Crypto Crafter asks, what do you need to do to be prepared for a land sale? So a long time ago, and also in the last land sale, I did live streams for the launch, and we're bringing them back based on some feedback that we received and some adjustments that we made. We're ready to bring them back, which means that before each land sale, for 2 hours before the land sale starts, I am up with you live making it happen. For me, the land sale starts at 6 a.m. So I started my last live stream at 4 a.m. And I was up, and I talk about there's 5 core steps that you need to do in order to best optimize. But again, I'll save that for those streams. So join us if you're interested in improving your chances of getting a land. I know all the optimizations for that.
Everybody say hi to my mom.
Hi, Mom.
She's in the chat. Let's see. Last couple questions here. Nina Ritchie, is there a delay on sending the Wizzies out? I still haven't received mine. What I had sent out almost all of them a couple days ago, and I was missing a couple wallets, and right before stream I sent out the rest. So except for Purple Linus, they should be all sent. I will double check your transaction to make sure that it went through. And if we'll figure that out. I know how to get a hold of you. Let's see. There's so many comments that aren't questions, which is great.
Lots of people were super excited.
Yeah.
That's why I said there was that sea of them, and I had to like sift back through to find that comment.
Is there a proper algorithm for casinos? So that kind of relates to the random number generator. We don't have any mechanics built in for a casino, like, doing cards or things like that. So people may figure out a lot of what we can do right now is kind of like redstone programming in Minecraft. So you can set up things with messages and create your logic gates and do different stuff like that. I am not a computer scientist. Like, I don't have any training. I know basically how not gates and OR gates. I've like looked that stuff up before, and I kind of vaguely understand it. But as far as doing it in the Game Maker, I am not quite at that level. But I'm sure there's somebody who could figure it out, and somebody with enough Minecraft Redstone experience could probably figure out some pretty amazing things to do in the Game Maker, especially since I believe the Game Maker in its state right now is even more flexible than Redstone. So there's things that I'm sure you could figure out as far as making it reliable and kind of like industry standard and able to compete with the major leagues of online casinos. Not quite there yet. Let's see. Any final questions? Did you know that Chuck E. Cheese had Defend versus Gambling? I think that was probably before I mentioned it. I'm way back in the chat here. Let's catch up here. I think everybody's just happy now. I think, what can the community do to help the Sandbox team? What the community can do is just share stuff. I mean, we tweet, we do YouTube videos, we do Twitch streams. So just those retweets, those likes, those really help help our metrics and help get the word out. So the more people we have bringing attention to it, the more people will latch on and get to enjoy the same things you're enjoying. So that's the main thing, is just get those retweets and those shares and engage with the community. A lot of you are already doing a great job with that. And I think that is about it. How much do you reckon in sand do you need to monetize a 1x1 land? Well, I mean, you need the 1,011 sand to buy the land, and then you will need some amount of sand to mint. You'll need some amount of sand potentially to buy. You don't actually need to buy any assets to make a game, because there's so many included with the Game Maker. You will need some amount of sand to mint your land. I don't know what that price will be. I imagine it's not going to be that much to do the minting.
Right.
And if you have people paying sand to get into your land, I mean, you're already making a profit there. I mean, it might take a little bit to make back the investment in buying the land, but there's virtually no price and upkeep once you have that land. Your purchase of the land is what pays for your server space, for your multiplayer. So it's free real estate, except it's not free real estate. It's like free income on your paid real estate, basically. So it's not a lot of expense and upkeep. Just as much as you want to do, as much as you want to put into it. And I think the more you put into it, the more you'll probably get back. That's not financial advice. That's just saying, like, if you're putting the effort to put cool things in your game and to bring attention to it, then, you know, people are going to respond to that.
Right. And one more thing to note is that you can change things that happen in your game if you don't change the assets that are in the game. So if you need to add an NFT that isn't already inside your game, you want to add a new one. Maybe you bought something from the marketplace and you think this is a cool element that could help make my game better. Then you do need to republish the game to wrap all of the NFTs that you have again. But aside from that, you can redesign your game, you know, hundreds of times without any change, and still have it be on the metaverse, no extra cost, as long as it's got the same stuff inside the game. The same individual assets are in the game. And again, if you purchase an NFT, like let's say if this Yeti costs money that is running away from Alex right now, or running at Alex rather,
to its doom.
To its doom. If it had cost money, you only need to own one NFT in order to place that Yeti 1,000,000 times, like as many times as you want inside your game, because the way the technology works is that the land serves as a wrapper, like a gift, and you put all the NFTs that you want in your game experience inside that box, and then when you mint it, it says, okay, these NFTs are in the box, so now they can be used in the game. So the Ross Guru, can I have a monthly leaderboard? As it stands now, we are still building on our end the integration for experience for the larger like cross land to land XP for the seasonal content. We are building those infrastructures now. I believe that maybe once we are done, we could start to disseminate that, but that's a couple of steps out still to even really think about that. So I can't give you a solid answer, but when the system is in place on our end, then it makes sense that we could start to make it available to the rest of everyone else.
All right. All right.
Well, Alex,
I think that wraps it up.
Right?
Yeah, about.
Yeah.
But we got through all the questions. We got through the questions.
We did.
They're not at the pool yet, so I haven't missed it yet.
Crypto Crafter asks the best way to get sand in the U.S. I believe you can go to Kraken right now. I would recommend them as just a nice exchange to do. Alternatively, if you go to CoinMarketCap or you go to CoinGecko.com and you just look up sand, you will be able to see all of the places where those are listed and available. I think Binance US is available as well, but I'm saying I think because I personally make all those trades on decentralized finance, so I use Uniswap for most of my sand purchases, and I trade my ETH for that and such. So,
I either use Uniswap or 1inch, depending on which one the fee looks lower on at that particular time.
Yeah.
Oh, Holly Voxels, we missed a question from you. You can ask it right now. Ask it right now. I don't know how long the delay is. We'll stick around for Holly's question. I didn't see it. There was a lot of comments to scroll through. But I have a few more minutes, so we can hang out if we can recover your question. And thank you about the who said that? Somebody liked the dead mouse. Crypto Crafter likes the dead mouse. So this is actually official. This was part of the last land sale. It is official dead mouse helmet, based after the first one that he made back in 2015, 2005, a long time ago. I don't remember. But yeah, I made this for the last land sale. So that was a lot of fun, making a helmet for that. And you can find these on OpenSea. I didn't have enough sand to participate in the last land sale, but I did have enough to grab some of the NFTs from it. So I grabbed the Sandbox punk kicks from Artifact, and the dead mouse helmet. I made both of them, but I don't just get them for free usually. So I bought them from OpenSea afterwards, and you can pick them up for around probably between 500 and 1,000 sand, depending on who's willing to sell. I've seen some go for a little bit less than that, but I put it down for 1,000 sand because that's what I felt like they were worth. So, Holly Holly Voxels says, I was asking about the mandatory explosion when something is destroyed. Will we be able to change or remove that in the future? So this is one of those things where when visual scripting comes out, basically anything will be possible. We'll be able to change everything to some degree. So as far as if that's going to happen with our behavior system, our presets, I'm not sure. The explosion, I feel like there was some situation where the explosion wasn't as visible, and I don't remember if you turn off the visibility for an item, the explosion might not be visible. And actually, I think when we got rid of this guy, yeah. So in the case of the boss, that kill message, that doesn't show an explosion for him. It shows an explosion for the numpad. And if we were to put that underground or to hide it some way, then we wouldn't see that explosion effect. I think, can we turn visibility on back for him? Yeah. So we toggle visibility. So if you turn invisible an object, oh no, it stayed for both. So if this is just a message broadcaster, if we make it a message broadcaster, can we make it invisible? Visible. So set it as a message broadcaster, set visibility to false. And it's not actually sending a message. Oh, no, the ape is still invisible. What's going on here? Okay, so we can't make it invisible, but we can at least hide it. We could put it underground and put the ape above ground, and then you can get rid of things that way. So by destroying the parent, which would be hidden, I forgot to make it visible again. That is a way to do it without the visible explosion. Of course, that doesn't help when you are using a sword to destroy something, and it kind of does that poof afterwards.
Can I leave one more announcement here, Alex,
Yeah,
really quickly?
absolutely.
I apologize. So for those of you who are creating assets for your game jam creation, I've mentioned in previous streams for the last, 2 months or so as it's been going on, that 1 week before the close of the game jam, I would like to have all of those art submissions completed. So if you haven't already, make sure that your arts are filled out, the form is filled out, they're all included, done, finished by the 10th of June, because I predict that many of you have been holding back your assets because you don't want any other designers to potentially take your aesthetic, your look, whatever it may be, your cool creature. So if you have been making something for your arts, make sure those are submitted before the 10th. I expect I'm going to have to approve hundreds of assets, as I have already approved, I think 200 so far in the Game Jam creations. So yes, make sure that you send those in. It doesn't have to be today if you don't want it to be. If it is, great. I check it about 3 times a week on those forums to make sure that the assets are in the marketplace. As soon as they are approved, they're visible in the marketplace, but that is an essential thing in order for our game testers to be able to test your game and vote for them. So if you want custom things, make sure that Utah Rian asks in the chat, we need to send you send me a link on the form, and then I click a special moderator button to approve those assets. They must be approved without catalyst, without gem requests, or they can't be approved. And then, yes, each individual asset will get approved one by one for me directly. So that is a normal process for artists. It's not so bad. For this game jam, I've got 150 plus people who've applied to be artists, and they're all going to be submitting arts at the same time. So I want to make sure that I can get through them before the end of the week, because at the end of the week, we're going to have to start reviewing the games, and you can't review them if you guys can't publish them to the gallery. So I need to see all those arts come in, please.
So we allowed too much time for more questions, so now we got to wrap those up. But it's okay, I've got time, as long as Joseph has time. So the figures being backwards, which was pointed out by Polyvoxel on YouTube. So the default avatars right now are the ones that come from your dashboard that you set up on the website. Those equipment will still go backwards too, and some of the older NPCs, if you set them as a custom avatar, will also be backwards for now. The avatar system is being fixed. I know that there was a lot of work going on for that last week, and is going to continue on this next week to get these guys flipped around the right way. So what's going on there is we had an old issue with the template that we resolved, but by doing that, it rotated them around backwards. So they appear to work forwards, but when equipment mounts to them, it mounts on backwards. So the new, you might notice if you're creating an avatar in VoxEdit, it says V2 or version 2. Those are all correct. So if you're making anything with a V2 template, it's all facing the right way. V1 stuff was all backwards. So the equipment is only going to work correctly right now if you set a custom avatar. And then, so I have stealth mode Alex, so you can add that from the marketplace if you want. If you look up stealth mode Alex, that one works correctly. Other newer characters, it should work on correctly also. And if you make your own, you only have the option to use the V1 template. It should work correctly on those. And then at some point very soon, hopefully before the game jam ends, we will have the default avatars working correctly with equipment mounting the forwards way. Joseph, can we get the link for the form in the chat for applying? Because you always email them the other form, the second one for asset submission.
Yes, I do. Okay, so which one do you want? Do you want the Game Jam artist application?
Yes, yeah, Game Jam artist application, because we've got Enzo from YouTube and I believe Logan from YouTube looking for that form. They would like to apply to be artists. So yes, the link that just got pasted in the chat, if you are looking to get an artist account so that way you can upload your custom assets for your game, fill that out. Joseph will approve you, and then Joseph is going to send you another form where you submit those assets so that way he can approve those specifically.
Yeah, and I'll be sending the other form via email. So what email you fill in right here is going to matter. Keep that in mind. And it also will be a brief instruction on how to do it correctly.
Yeah.
So that when you submit, I don't have to come back to you and say, hey, this didn't work. So anyway, I don't want to keep you too long, Alex. We're now 30 minutes over on this 1 hour long.
That's all right. We're loving it. One last thing for Crypto Crafter. I don't want to say you can't make sand right now, but it's limited to the Creator Fund at this point. So if you want to apply to the Creator Fund, go to fund.sandbox.game and apply to the Creator Fund. That is an artist program. You do get assignments. It's like a freelancer job. You get a leader for your group. You get assigned different themes and different kinds of things to do each month. And you have a goal quota of about 10 assets a month that you want to try to meet. And we've got rewards for when you meet your quota and other incentives in there. But it is kind of it's like a freelance job. So if you're just interested in making what you want to make, Creator Fund's probably not the best place for you. But if you really just want to make voxel artwork, you can get paid in US dollars through PayPal, or you can get paid in sand, either way. And then we are doing limited mintings right now, and eventually that will be more open for people to mint the stuff that they make. So every week or so, we've been doing these little mint sessions with a few artists at a time, and that has been very lucrative for some of our voxel artists. I mean, we had the first sale was a big sale of 100 assets and like thousands of dollars in US dollars in sand got paid out to various artists. So it was a really big deal for a lot of us. And eventually this platform will be open for everybody. So voxel artists, any voxel artist without any application, without any special stuff to sign up for, will be able to mint and sell on the platform. And it's but that's a little bit ways down the road. What's up, Joseph?
Colt over on YouTube. If your last name starts with L, I assume your email had your last name in it. Um, you have been approved as an artist, and I sent you a follow-up email that gives you the full rundown on how to submit that art into the. You should already be able to see, like in your Vox edit, you can click export to marketplace. Just keep in mind that you must use the same account that you signed up with. So if you use more than one account, you can only use the one account as your artist account and the other as maybe your creation account, if that's what you're doing. So there's some very small little things, but just keep in mind you must use the account at the email that you applied with. And if the email didn't work, then I would have no way to come back to you and say that it didn't. So there have been a few of those, but I see a cult that was user number 123 that I approved. So just a little while ago. That was probably 2 weeks ago, almost now, that I had approved that. So it may be that you just don't know the process very well yet, and that's understandable, of course, because you've never done it before. So check your email address, maybe check your spam. It should just come from me, and it looks super informal because I want to make sure that it doesn't go to your spam box, so I don't put a bunch of pictures and nonsense in there. It just comes from Joseph@sandbox.game. So
you want to make sure you're logged into the right Sandbox account, and then you just go to export to marketplace. You pick your thumbnail, click export, and it will open up your browser already logged into the correct account. And Joseph's email explains all that. So anyway, it has been a great stream. I think we answered a lot of questions. I think everybody had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun. So I hope you all have a beautiful weekend. Thank you, Joseph. Let's go
Thanks,
out with
Alex.
Let's go out with a groove.
We're going out with a groove, Alex. I'm trying to keep it on beat, you know what I mean? Alex. Purple Lioness won today, and I'm so hype about it. All right. It's good. It's real good.